Hey, good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning, Jim.
Good morning. So the market is almost open. Economic calendar. We had some numbers come out of the UK this morning, and a few numbers, initial jobless claims this morning. However, everything is moving because of news this morning. I was watching this live. Will it come up here? So this was Iran Supreme Leader saying uranium must stay in Iran. So that was at 6:30 this morning. And this is what happened at 6:30 this morning. So the news came out at 6:30, but a little bit before that, NQ dropped and oil spiked. So this was, let me just zoom in here. There we go. So this was on the news that Iran wants to keep their uranium, whatever that means. It absolutely moved the market. And yesterday we finally had Nvidia earnings. And Nvidia just wicked up and down and is pretty much in the same range as yesterday. And the market is open. So I'm going to take my time this morning. I had a profitable trade this morning, actually. Let's just show what I did here. Like I said, I was looking at the possibility of a double top, and I didn't take it. And I kind of regret it because this is my setup for a double top. Came down from a low. I prefer it not rejecting over here, and that's what paused me from taking it. But spiked up. Liquidity sweep, or at least that's what I consider a liquidity sweep, a big tail on this candle here. And then we came back into the area and couldn't make new highs. On a 5-minute bearish candle, which is this one, on a new low, which would have been just below yesterday high. So the short would have been right here, with a stop, a conservative stop above the wick, aggressive stop just above the previous highs, and aiming for 3R. But while you're in this, the market just tanked. So this ended up going 7R. I did not take it. And that's what happens that's why I like the golden zone, because I missed this entry. And right from here, let me redraw it. Right from here, we can tell that we had news. So the sentiment has been changing. We've been going up, and with this massive drop here, it's obvious that that's an impulse sell. And we started selling right from here. Actually, you can put it right above the level here, probably right around this area. And then you bring it down to where we put in some wicks and we started climbing back. But the sentiment is still selling. So I was actually trying to put in a limit order over here, and I was stumbling. So I just entered on a market and got some slippage. But the trade was a short with a stop at the 61.8. Again, I was messing around with it, so it was actually inside here a little bit. And right around here, I took it off. I took it off close to 3R, but it was getting close to the open. So and I don't like holding into the open. So that was a quick, I think it's around 3R, but that really doesn't matter. What matters is that the pattern worked again very, very well. If you were to enter on the touch, and a 2-minute, this is where on a 2-minute candle or a 1-minute candle, we wicked into it, and then you would have to try to get an entry here on a bearish candle. On the bearish candle, I find this to be pretty bearish right over here. So a short here with the stop, and now the stop at 61.8 might be a little bit too far. More aggressive stop would be above this wick, and very aggressive stop would be just above the previous candles, right? So if I were to enter over here, I'd probably put it above that recent high, and again, aim for 3R, right? And 3R is down here. and had to extend right because we haven't made it down there. That's why I like the limit entry, the automatic limit entry, and your guaranteed price. That's the thing with limit entries. On the market entry, you're not. You're guaranteed entry, but you're not guaranteed on price. And I find when I take a market entry, I don't know if it's TradingView, but the slippage is annoying. It's not what I'm used to with DOS. So anyway, that's what I did this morning. I don't know what you guys were talking about. I didn't mean to interrupt, but just want to start sharing my screen and see what you guys are doing.
Yeah, TradingView, sometimes the spreads gets really bad. I experienced that also firsthand.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Tarek, because I mean, the spread right now is, 0.25, 0.75. I've been filled like 2 full points away from my entry on a market entry. And it's, on MNQ, it's not the end of the world because you're aiming for, usually 40, 50, 60 points. But I'm not liking the entries on the TradingView. But that being
It's
said,
actually the broker.
What's that?
It's normally the broker on futures.
But it's the communication between TradingView and interactive brokers.
For me, it's the same regardless. What I've found is that on futures, especially when it's moving and it's volatile, they will slip you. So whatever the worst fill is, you'll get that.
That's what you'll get.
And you'll get filled as it moves away from you.
Yeah, and as far as risk control, it's very difficult because I mean you plan on having your stop right above 61.8, but all of a sudden now your stop is like right within the zone. So what do? Do you move your stop or just cut it? And that's what I have done. Is if I see that it's going against me and I didn't get the proper entry, I'll just get out at at 0.2 of an R, just instead of risking, because it's not my proper risk entry, and I don't want to have my stop right in the middle of the zone, especially when we are just moving back into it. So still working on it. So
yeah, no, you're right. The market orders on futures are not great. I think they're a lot better in. I think with when you're trading equities, you're actually more likely to get a better fill doing a market order than, like, for example, when day traders, they'll if they're buying, they'll just pay the ask. If you're scalping or whatever, but if you hit the market order instead, you're more likely to get better fill because your order gets I can't remember what they call it, but it gets put into a basket with all the other orders.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, because like I said, I'm very used to DOS. I've been trading DOS probably 4 or 5 years now, or more actually, in 2020, so 6 years, 7 years maybe. And just recently got out of it to get back into TradingView and futures. But if it does continue to be a problem, I might go back to DOS just for those better entries. For now, I don't see the huge need for it. Plus, most of my trades lately have been entered on limit orders, and I've been liking it. This strategy here works by putting an order at the level, and you get filled, and you can cancel out of it very quickly if there's something that doesn't look right. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do moving forward, but for now, just planning on continuing with the limit order strategy. By the way, what I took was on MES, but it worked perfectly on MNQ as well. So if you want me to share it, this was the move down. Right, the impulse move started right here. So I don't want to put my fibs way at the top here because we came down and then pulled back. You know what? Just for the fun of it. With this one, yeah, this one would not have worked. Very short time frame here. So it came down, pulled into the golden zone. Would not have worked on the limit entry. But if you can find an entry, I mean, this is obviously rejecting at the 70%, right? If you can find an entry there, and with a really tight stop above, there is a strategy there. But what I took on MES was actually, let me redraw it because it's better for somebody who wants to see how it's done. So the impulse move was obviously down. It started right at the top of this candle. This is a 15-minute chart. Let me put it back to 5. What happened there? 5. Okay. So the impulse move started right around here. You can put it at the top of this one because it has been going down. There is no retrace. So you can start at the top here, and this is where it started bouncing, right here. So let me do this and let me zoom in. Whoa, too much. There we go. All right, so start there, stop there, look at where it went. That's why the limit entry works and the market entry does not, right? Because we just went right to that price and then rejected. So a limit entry would have gotten you in way further down, sorry, a market entry, and then your risk or reward is all shot. And I have started using, I think it was Tony that suggested these key levels. I was working on my own script, but you know what? I'm not loving the process with Pine script. So anyway, I'm using this now. I like having yesterday's high, pre-market high, pre-market low. This puts in today's high and today's low, which I don't really need. I think I can take those out because those are usually obvious. Yeah, today, I think that's the one. Yeah, today's high and low. I don't like having too many lines on my screen. So have you found a specific time range where the fibs are respected better in the entire 3-hour session? That's a really good question. And the answer is, well, it's yes and no. I don't like using them in the first half hour to the first hour. Once we break the first 30-minute range, then I will look at the impulse area. But I have found that they work surprisingly well in pre-market and surprisingly well between the 4 to 7 a.m. range. That's what I've been really looking at lately, is trying to get into trades before the market opens, before 9 a.m. So over here, I was not looking at any because let's replay here. All right, let's look over here. I was at the computer just after 5 this morning, Eastern time. And I saw that we had been up here, then came down, gave a big V reversal, but there are no pullbacks on this, right? So there's up until we get all the way up here. So if I were to put the fibs from where we really started moving up to the top over here, it almost gave an entry long, but I didn't like the long from here because we had already been here and rejected and then rejected again. So, I didn't like that idea. So I didn't even put the fibs on for that. Partly because there's no room to the left from all this area over here. I mean, we had just chopped around here before. Right? So what I was looking at was the double top. And this might have been a good signal here that it's these 2 wicks over here showed that we were trying to make it up there. And then on a 5-minute time frame, a 5-minute rejection below yesterday's close, right? This is PDC right here. This would have been a good entry, but not on the fibs. This would have been my double top or double bottom strategy. And then I showed what happened with the big drop here. As soon as you see something like that, that's where you start your fib, is when you see a massive move like this. Then the sentiment is selling. Therefore, you assume that we're going to come back into that area and sell again. And that's exactly what happened. So still back testing, forward testing the strategy. So hopefully that answers your question, Runak, about where I find it working most often. And look, yeah, this is the move I was talking about here. This right here, right from the top here at 4 a.m. to the bottom over here, did not really give an entry because look at all this chop over here, right? This is consolidation, and consolidation, you're thinking that you're probably going to, break out of the range and possibly because of the range was going higher before. So I didn't like this, and the market had already been there. What I did like again was the double top, but the double top printed better on MNQ than it did on MES. So as far as I'm concerned right now, I don't see anything. Let's look at gold. Let's go back. We are on the 5 minutes. So the first 15 minutes has passed. Very small moves. Yeah, that's why I don't want the today high. I'm going to have to change it on all of them. But anyway. M2K. By the way, I was thinking that with yesterday's Nvidia, I thought, a lot of the market was waiting to see what Nvidia was about to say. They had great earnings. Right? They had a $2.71 billion surprise on revenue, right? The estimate was 78.91 billion in the last 3 months. Incredible. And they reported 81.61, and they gave good guidance. So I wouldn't be surprised if we consolidate here a little bit and possibly move back up in the next little while. Not a prediction, but hopefully it, especially with conflicts being resolved. So anyway, I'm taking a break in talking. I'm just going to be looking at these things. Where everything is right now is just chopping, right? There's no direction here. So I do nothing right now. I'm going to leave my my fibs on here from pre-market because this was a big impulse move. We came back into the golden zone here. We are finding support here, and if I'm not mistaken, this is Asia low. Pretty much to the penny, right? This is Asia low right here. If we were to make it down below Asia low and retest, this would be an interesting place to possibly short. Or, let me take the trading sessions off. I will also be looking at if we make it back into the golden zone again and reject again for the possibility of it moving down. But I want to see movement. I want to see who's in control. And with these long wicks here, there's no way of telling. I don't know what's going on with equities.
The CVD on the Nasdaq is showing that bears are still in control.
On NQ or the Qs?
The MNQ.
MNQ, thank you for sharing. All right, so we'll look at it. CVD.
The last candle in the 5 minutes, buyers started to show up, but they are just not holding well. Or maybe they need time, I don't know.
Yeah, the CVD definitely seems weak, right? Weaker than price. Price is still within the zone, but CVD, these candles are making new lows. I should have it on screen more often because I am trying to incorporate this into my trading. So thanks for the reminder. Right, when you see that price is just shopping within a range, but CVD is showing that the sentiment is going down. Right, this candle right here seems to be flipping back and forth. So we'll see. For the time being, it definitely does look like sellers are in control. But for my strategy, I need to see a fair value gap. I need to see obvious selling or buying. Something else that I would consider is a liquidity sweep below. And if we were to come down here and put in a 5-minute Kangaroo Tail, right, that's below a level, and this is absolutely a level, and it's Asia low. So as long as the Kangaroo Tail forms at a level, I will consider it. So again, not a prediction. I have no idea what these candles are going to look like, but just, thinking ahead, what I'd like to see, not what I'd like to see, but what I would act on is a liquidity sweep below and then buying coming back in. Because if you look at the higher time frame, we've been bullish, right? We're going sideways recently because this was all-time high. But over the higher time frame, I'll leave this on. Right, we're going up. We've been bullish, sideways most recently. And if some of you are finding it difficult lately, it's probably because we're going sideways. We're directionless right now. Right? It makes things difficult.
We just had some news because oil shot
Oh,
down
yeah.
and the equities are rising.
There was news. I forgot to mention what was the news? There was something on the calendar for 9:45. Yeah, the S&P PMI. So PMI coming in a little bit hotter than predicted. And I don't know if there was something on here, but when the minutes came out yesterday, the Fed FOMC minutes came out yesterday, they did not take interest rate hikes off the table. So that's bearish. And there you go. So oil coming down. So this, I'm going to wait for it to print. Let me take these lines off. Too many lines. Let's take today off. And there we go. So this, on a 5-minute, this is showing selling right now. So there's a possibility of a fair value gap printing. So this might be the beginning of my impulse move. But for now, I'm just looking. MNQ shooting up into that zone again. Right? Will it reject that zone? That's where I go into the 2-minute and see if it actually gives an entry. CVD completely switched, right? Went positive. So there are a lot of market orders, a lot of people getting in here and saying, okay, we're going up. couple fair value gaps on the 2 minute. Sorry, what?
It's the power of news these days.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't like trading the news. I like to see how it does seem strong now. I'm getting into
it says Iranian official denies reports that they have requested for uranium to stay in Iran.
I think the Iranians they understood the game, so they're playing.
They are trading.
Yeah, trading.
It's nonsense the way they can do he said, she said on Twitter every 15 minutes and spike something that is moving billions of dollars. Some of these futures markets, it's insane.
It is insane. It makes it incredibly difficult to trade. But you have to be aware in a group like this. It's great that we're sharing information. I didn't think to go look. I thought this had to do with the PMI numbers, which would be a little bit odd because those PMI numbers coming in a little bit hot is a little bit bearish because it does open up the possibility for interest rate hikes. But what it was is what you're sharing here, right? On financialjuice.com. Thanks again to whoever suggested this. It seems to be very, very quick, 9:53, and we've already been looking at it for a minute or two, so doesn't seem to be much of a delay. And the Iranian official denies reports. I think that's what, and those of you who have more information than I do, I think these two words here are a massive part of the problem. Because who are the Iranian officials? I think that's what a lot of people are having a hard time with. Right? Who's in charge?
I think one of the things they did, knowing that they decentralize their leadership, so they are pretty much in like wartime politics.
Yep, and it's hard. I'm assuming it's hard. I mean, I'm just, an outsider looking in. I don't have any more information than reading the news, whatever comes out. Some of it is, most of my news I get from Twitter sources. I do not watch mainstream media, but I think they're having a hard time figuring out who to negotiate with and who to get their information from. I mean, the Trump administration has said as much as well. And again, with them, you don't know what to believe. So it's on every side.
I think most of these news spikes, you can pretty much just wait for them to die down and then fade it, because they tend to mean revert.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's don't trade the news. Just let's see how the market digests it. This on the 2 minute is showing a possible entry short. Right? It came back into the, I'm not telling anybody how to do anything. I'm not taking it. It's too soon after this news. But this is what I was looking at, the possibility. Do we come back in here and then sell off again? Right? There is some strong selling happening in this zone here. So with a 2 minute, depending on where, I mean, this is a wide stop. But on a break, a new 2 minute low, you'd have to put your stop up here, and maybe aim for 1 hour. Right? But like I said, I'm not taking it. It's news driven right now. We have no idea what's going on. There might be another story that comes out, or the opposite comes out, and then it's just going to tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trading's been very, very difficult over the last, I would say over the last, well, it's always difficult. It's never easy. But since the end of February, I think it's made it a lot harder because so many things are news driven.
They did the same thing yesterday on the Nasdaq. It was choppy, and then it started breaking up, trading in the range.
The M2K is trying to fill the original gap now, so it's just talking inside. We had a gap on the New York session from 28.25 to 28.45-ish.
Not quite sure. What time frame are you looking at, Hamza?
30-minute. It's the M2K. If you have to, it's basically it's a gap on the New York session.
Okay.
From last Thursday, Friday. We had a big gap down overnight from 28.70 to 28.25-ish.
Yep. It was Friday, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, that whole area was a low volume sell-off area.
Yeah.
And then from 28, this point where we are now, New York sort of accepted the gap and it sold off with volume from here. So it might be a good area from here to see if what kind of reaction we start to get.
The way that I would draw this is the last impulse move was strong to the buy side. Let me get rid of these. So this is how I would draw it from the beginning. This is where we really started buying. Don't know where to stop it right now. I'm going to put a pre-market high. Actually, I'll just put it where the candle is, and then I'll move it. I'd be looking at the possibility of buying if we retrace into the 28.14 area. Too soon to tell right now, but this is how I'd be looking at it. I like that from the buying area, from where we started, there was room to the left. Right? What I don't like is that we rejected up here just recently in pre-market. So we'll see what happens over here. Definitely a good spot to be looking at. They're rejected in pre-market, but now we've had news, right? So there's information out now that was not available over here. Yeah, MNQ, that short would not have been a good deal. Not a good trade. Right? We're strong right now. So getting rid of fibs and looking at it again. So gold coming into resistance over here. Big 5-minute fair value gap from this morning. But was showing buying over here. Right. Pulled into the 50. So from that big impulse move up, pulled into the 50. I'd be curious to know on a market order, I'd be looking at the 2-minute and seeing if we can make a new strong 2-minute high. If this were to close near the top, it might be a good entry, but there's a lot of resistance over here. Right? Not smooth sailing. I prefer there to be room to the left over here to really try to be able to punch up higher. I don't know if anybody else is looking at anything. Please don't hesitate to. And even if it's between, everybody else in here and you have no questions for me, don't let me stop you from sharing.
I'm seeing also the long opportunity. I'm looking at the long opportunity on the gold.
What are you seeing? Sorry, Tarek. I know you're looking at gold.
Yeah, I'm looking for a long also around 4,500. It's psychological. Yeah, it's more or less the same levels you have.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I've done is just print, from where the buying really started. I can actually bring it right into this level here from pre-market low area, right here to the top. This is the general area that we're looking to possibly find support. There was a 5-minute fair value gap that printed over here, and then this candle came and tested it. So what I like to see for a market order entry is a bullish candle after this has been tested. And I don't see it on the 2, on the 1 maybe. Still, I don't see one on the 1. We're rejecting this area over here, right? So it's showing weakness right here. So on the 1 minute, this just closed. Right, this is a trendy kangaroo because the trend, a very short time frame, the trend is down. We've spiked up and then printed near the lows. Let me zoom in here. There you go. So this candle right here, because the trend just in the last 10 minutes has been going down. It spiked up, took out liquidity from the previous candle, closed very near the bottom, and then put in a new low. So this is definitely not a buying signal. Not yet. Not necessarily a selling signal either.
On the gold, Tariq, I'm seeing impulse buys under 4,500. If trend sort of selling, stepping down slowly. So each day we are printing sort of lower highs. So I'd say if you want to buy, try and get as close to the low side of the range as possible.
Yeah, wait for it. I totally agree with you, Hamza. Well, just wait for it. See if it will give something. I tried to drop today. Normally, it drops to take the point of control of yesterday, but it went really close, but it didn't take it. So that's why I'm hesitant to take a long now.
Yes. We'll see. Kind of seeing a tightening daily range, so I'm not sure the risk to reward is there.
It's a tough market to trade, honestly.
Looking at the pullback here, right? The impulse was to buy over here, and then we rejected. This area over here is interesting, but there's a lot of resistance up ahead, above, I should say. Where are we on the cams? Yeah, we're just in the central pivot range. I'm going to leave the fibs there until we have a close below the 61.8. And this is showing weakness, but the level, the golden zone, is still acting as support for the time being. We are within a 5-minute fair value gap here. There to there. Right, we can't deny that this was a very strong candle over here, and then we're retesting it. So if you're looking at, small moves, right, getting in whatever your entry is over here, is it possible to get to 3R before getting back up? Well, yeah, you're at 6R over here, depending on entry. Right, so you don't need to.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning, Tony. But if we do get a 5-minute close below below the 61.8, then I'll remove the drawing. As far as I'm concerned, it's no longer valid. Look at the 2-minute, we have had a close. Right.
Just looking at this M2K, I think the higher it goes here, the better the opportunity is getting for a really good risk to reward on a short.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of room to the left if it gives a good signal here. Market order sell. I'm trying to move that down, but I can't, obviously. Moves with the candle. Okay. Personally, on M2K, I would love to see a liquidity sweep higher into this zone here. I'm not quite sure why I had that zone in there. Actually, I'm going to take it out because I don't remember putting it in. I don't want to be influenced by it. There we go. Too many drawings on here.
Yeah, for me, I'm on the 30 minutes, so it'll probably be some time before I see a setup.
Yeah. Let's look at a higher time frame here. There you go. Yeah, the way that I like looking at the highs over here is that there's room to the left. Can draw, what the heck. Right, so there's room to the left. I don't know when the last, it's been a while since we've been there. Right, we've got these lows here. Let's go to the higher time frame again. Sorry, a lot of drawing on here. So right around this area here, let's draw a rectangle here. So right around this area here, right, we had found support, and then we just came down and could not make it higher than this. So this is possibly an area of rejection. Like I said, for me to, yeah, that is kind of a, yeah, let's try it just on sim. I don't know if I had my, I did not have my stop in the right spot. Spot would be above here. Confirm it is only sim, so I don't care what the dollar value is, but the entry is on a spike up and then new low, right? Rejected that area. It does seem to be a higher time frame area of possible rejection. And then from there, I like aiming for 3R. 3 brings us back into the golden zone over here. So I would probably take profit before, there you go, let's put that there. I'd probably take profit around here, or I'd be really looking at it around here. So just as an example, I put it on there. I did not move the take profit. Let's put it at 3 for now, or into the golden zone here. And then I can always move it if we find that we're having difficulty with this over here. On the 30-minute, right, Hamza, do you mind me asking a question? If this were to close down here and reject and make a new low, if you entered short, if you're looking for a short, would you have your stop above the wick?
So if it closes that 30-minute, and then I'd be looking for it to, on the smaller time frame, I'd want it to pull higher and see if we can form some sort of microstructure on the smaller time frame. This is not ideal, to be honest. I wanted it to go even higher. But we'll see. It is technically a rejection of yesterday's high.
Yep.
But it's not formed yet for me. It's not closed. So, but at the moment, it's starting to look weak now. But on the other side, obviously, you have to look at that opening 30-minute drive as well. It swept the lows and it really pushed. So we should technically get some momentum to take it higher.
Yeah, on my live account, honestly, what I'd be looking at is buying at the 50 here.
Yeah, that would definitely make more sense right now.
Yeah.
Because you had a lot of momentum to push it higher.
Yep. That was a lot of buying right here. So whatever this is, it could just be the pullback into this area.
Yeah.
But it is possible to take a short on a strong stop on the pullbacks. Right. This is very close to my Kangaroo Tail rejection candle. Like I had said before, I prefer the wick to be much higher and really show that, you know, that we're rejecting this level. I'm going to bring my take profit to the 50 because I said that if it makes it down here, I'd love to see a wick down, and then I'd be looking at the possibility of going long here. So there you go. That's 1R right now. Not worth. Hey, whoops. I need to confirm here. This is a paper trade, by the way. Full disclosure. And it's not exactly how I would have. On my live account, the reason I didn't take it was because this did not form. The wick needs to reject. It needs to show that, you know, we tried to make new highs and it just got slammed down. So the wick needs to be 2/3 of the candle. MNQ retesting the 15-minute range. MNQ. Yeah, that was a big move up. This area here was completely rejected. Therefore, this needs to be taken off. And on the 5-minute, it's directionless right now. If we look at this, it's really putting in. This is might have an impact on M2K as well. I'm okay with 2R on this. So if it can come down here, this is something I'd like to manage a little bit. This is something at this point, with this much move has gone, I would move this to break even, which would be right above this wick over here. So that's how I would manage this. So now this trade is de-risked.
Yeah. For me, I'm looking for more of a slow turn, because if there is like real selling pressure, it's not going to be impulsive straight away. Because let's say there's big orders to fill, they could take hours to get a nice slow turn where sellers really get to fill their order. So with it going like big 30-minute candle up and then big 30-minute candle down, it's not the kind of trade that I want to take.
Yeah.
I would say you're more likely to get momentum continuation. So now it's coming close to your 50 fib.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I forgot to hit the confirm. I was moving my take profit down, and I forgot I didn't hit the confirm, so it stopped me out at 2R. In a trade like this, once it's de-risked, I would probably just try to manage it and to only take it off if a reversal signal shows up, probably on a smaller time frame. Right now, there's no reason to take this off. So if I were still involved, but if it made a new 1-minute high, then I'd probably take profit. And as far as the 50% fib, I'd want it to come into the 50% on a 2-minute time frame, wick down into it, and then show the opposite of this price action. I want it to wick down and show that the buyers are really getting involved and put in a strong 2-minute candle.
Yeah, is this a trade you're going to take?
This is not a trade I'm going to take right now.
Okay.
No, thanks for asking. I don't like that MNQ is really dry. I don't want to go long M2K. I know that they're not 100% correlated, but I don't know. I don't like going long something like M2K when MNQ and MES seem to be going down, and they seem to be somewhat directionless, right? Just going up, back down. MNQ seems, oh, this is a nice liquidity sweep. Didn't take out the lows though, but that is a very interesting candle. I would not go long here, even though if it printed a kangaroo tail. I do not like taking a long after a massive decline over here. We've got two massive 5-minute candles, bearish 5-minute candles. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I look at, and it just goes by experience of looking at these charts, and just you get a feel for it. And I wouldn't like going long right now because we're selling, right? The sellers are in charge. Sellers were over here. Let's look at what the fibs look like from that first impulse sell. Right? This was the low. If I move it sideways, right, we'd come into the golden zone, but we couldn't make it higher, and then just sold off. And who knows? Is there news? Is there anything else that just came out? There's a 10:50 discussing permanent Hormuz toll, Iranian envoy. So that was at 10:15. That could be the reason for this. right? And I'm sure oil is spiking, or maybe not. Wow, surprised. So if we're looking at this, again, this should be obvious now that we started selling, started buying right here. Where did it go to? Went into the 50, possibly moving down from there. M2K, this is looking bearish to me. It seems like it's wanting to try to buy from the 50, but it's putting in these wicks. Price is getting rejected over here. So if I were still in this, then I would put my stop probably right above yesterday's high. Right? I de-risk, then I move my stop probably around here. And it's okay that it just makes a new high. It might have been a good idea that I took profit over here on the paper trade, not a real trade. But I would have had it right around here. Because this could be a buying area. And as far as the limit entry strategy, this would have gotten me in long. But I don't usually, I don't trade M2K often. I concentrate on MES and MNQ. MES, I see nothing here unless it were to come down here and show a lot of buying at pre-market low, right? At this level, which we saw a lot of buying at this level yesterday, then I'd be looking at it. And it's coming close to 1030. So I am going to put an alert on MES down here. MNQ, same spot. Want to be alerted if we come and take down liquidity down here, and then I want to see, do we really start buying from there? M2K, yeah, I probably would have been stopped out over here at maybe 1 hour instead of the 2 that I took. But it's a good idea to have an idea of where price could go, right? And we discussed it, that it could go into the 50. I'm not planning on going to low of day because there's way too many areas of support possible. So this might work out for what you were saying. It might come back up here and put in a double top, right? And possibly take out liquidity above here and then reject again. And if it does do that, then there's a possibility that it rejects the 50 golden zone here. And if it goes up here, can't find buyers, comes back, has difficulty again, then you can look at the possibility of it possibly going further. Do you use fib on the 1 minute chart? If so, could you please explain on MNQ? I don't. I usually use the fib on the 5 minute. So if I go to MNQ, but it'll work on that as well. So let's go to 1 minute. Let's go to MNQ. This is hard to draw here, but on the 1 minute, we see that we started selling up here. Right. So let me remove this one. Right. So if I was on the 1 minute, I'd be looking at this. I am on the, no, not on the one. There we go. Right. On the 1 minute, we see that we started selling over here, but then we retraced. So let's draw it over here. Right. We started selling over here and started buying right at this level. Right. So on the 1 minute, I would have drawn this. Right. It went in, but spiked up way higher, but then rejected and kept moving down. So on the 1 minute, they're great for entries, but putting your stop at the 61.8, that's really, really tight. And then it kept on moving down. So I could bring it down to this level right here. Right? Once this printed, right? There you go. Right, we went down, and then we have a green candle, so we could bring the fib to the low over here, and look, does it retrace into the 50? Let's print another candle. Look at how it wicked right to the 50. And then entry would be on a new low. But look how far you are. Right? That's why I like the limit entry. This would have gotten me in. I do not trade on this time frame, but this would have gotten me in short at the 50. Stop at the probably right above the wick of the previous candle, and I would aim for 3. There we go, close enough. And then let's look at what happens next. On the next candle, you would have been at profit. Right? Next candle, 3R. So this is not the way that I trade. I don't like the position sizing and everything on the, it's too risky on the 1 minute. But I mean, it's fractal patterns, right? They work on smaller time frames as well. Okay, so hopefully that answered the question. Evo, checking out for the day. Keep it green yourself. Have a great day. Later, MNQ, small loss on Qubit early on. Entered a second trade on RGTI at 21 for higher day breakout. Went 3R, then collapsed. Stop out at break even. Was targeting 22. Might look for another entry near VWAP for a long. Oh, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Too bad we couldn't bring it up. I didn't see those comments earlier. So it is 10:30. The room remains open. Good luck, everyone. I will be back tomorrow for Friday. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, please hop in and let me know. I enjoy the interaction.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. Cheers.
Thanks, you.